Hello, Shariff here. And today I want to talk to you about a phenomenon that I've recently come to understand and appreciate, and looking at the implications of what this phenomena is. Um, it is referred to on the internet as the telepathy tapes. And the telepathy tapes, if you have discovered it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't discovered it yet, I strongly urge you to go to YouTube, search for telepathy tapes, and play the first episode and go through all the episodes. I'm going to try to leave a link to that above my head here. And if I can't do that, I'll try to leave a link for it in the comments in the description below. But one way or another, you should look at this. I don't want to go into it too much because I don't want to steal anything from these tapes. How it is done, how the interviewer reveals this information over time, and the implications of it. You need to take your time with it. I don't think there's a instant answer to any of it. The bottom line is that apparently the children that we know as autistic people have abilities that we don't have. It seems as though they are completely telepathic, and telepathic at levels that we don't even know how to calculate. We can't test it, and then they have abilities even beyond that. When we think of autistic people as being disabled, in turn, we are the ones who are disabled, and they have abilities that we can't even fathom. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm really tempted to spend the next 10 minutes or so going through. They can do this and they can do that, etc. But I won't. I really urge you. Every episode is a revelation, and don't try to rush them. Go through all from 1 to 10 or 11, and then, like the rest of us, wait for season 2. The reason I want to talk to you about it is that the telepathy tapes in their entirety reveal something I've been talking about for over the past decade. And that is what I call the 5 latent powers. Now, I have talked about it. I have done a pretty serious 90-minute webinar on the 5 latent powers. Again, that'll either be over my head right now if I figure out how to make these things appear over my head, or they're going to be down below in the description, a link to get to the 5 latent powers webinar. I urge you to listen to it. And while you're listening to the 5 latent powers and you're listening to the telepathy tapes, you will see how they come together. Here is the source, my source of the 5 latent powers. This happened in 2012 when I was in the Himalayas. I was on a global search for what I called sacred civilization. Throughout history, we've talked about abilities that human beings have had that we don't have right now. We've talked about the ability to move and cut and place the megalithic stones of the Great Pyramid. We can't do that today. Okay, so this is the future. We're supposed to be civilized. We're supposed to have all this technological marvels, and we can't build the Great Pyramid. We couldn't even make a little teeny bit of pyramid. So I had gone. So in 2012, I went to the Great Pyramid and experienced that. I went to Goebekli Tepe, and my third stop was in the Himalayas because I wanted to ask a question. And the question that I asked was really simple. How do we do this stuff? Where is the secret pink pencil that you can swish, and we have the ability to read minds, and we have the ability to travel from one place to another without moving in a jet plane, etc. How do we do this? I went looking for the answer. I got the answer. I brought the answer back. And it's amazing the number of people who have not asked me any questions about that answer. It's amazing as we stand on the brink of the destruction of this civilization and the creation out of its ashes, a brand new civilization, that people aren't asking me the question of how do we do this? So, yep, I know how to do this. I'm not the only one. That knowledge is coming out now. And go to the telepathy tapes and you'll start hearing how this is going out. We don't know how to use the knowledge that's coming out right now, but it's really important to know that it's coming out right now. What I got from my experience in a cave at the 15,000 foot level in the Himalayas, only human being there, only human being for 10 miles in any direction. I got a download, and the download said, the thing that I'm looking for is not a magic pink pencil. The thing that I'm looking for is latent inside of all human beings. That ability to build the pyramids is latent inside of us. The ability to do telepathy is latent inside of us. The ability to move from one place to another place without moving through intervening space is latent inside of us. That latency can be awakened. And the only stipulation and the thing that has prevented us from doing this for the past 10,000 years or so is that it cannot be awakened as an individual. This is not an individual trait or an individual ability. This is something that we do together as human beings. Once we come together as human beings, then these things become not only possible, they become simple. It's easy, as easy to do as, tying your shoes or fixing dinner or any of the other things that we know how to do. Until we do these things, until we learn how to do these things, we are going to be trapped in the kind of consciousness that we're locked in right now. So what we do, as I've been saying for about 40 years, is awaken our consciousness to a whole new level. It's not a matter of us learning how to, and I've been calling this sparking, that we get a spark of an ability. You will know that someone's, you start thinking about someone and all of a sudden they call you. Well, that's just a little tiny spark of what we are able to do. Or you get the impression that something is about to happen, and then there's an earthquake. That's a spark of what we can do. What we have to do is stop sparking and start doing this as the way we live our lives as human beings on this planet. I want to say this, and I want to say this in a non-alarmist state. The way we've been doing things is over. It is over and done. That world isn't coming back. That world shouldn't be coming back. That world has been damaging for our spirit, has been damaging for our community. It's been damaging to the community of all beings here on Mother Earth. And it's been damaging the earth herself. Why do we need it? Let's do things differently. Let's live our lives, and so that from our oneness, from our deep connection with all beings, all living beings, we get to do things that have only been dreamt about before. That we start living this kind of a life consciously. We start doing this knowing that these 5 latent powers are the road that we will travel to a new reality. That the 5 latent powers become the blueprint, the basis of an entirely new civilization on Earth. Now, I know many of you have been focusing on that feeling that's deep inside that things are coming to an end. They've been focusing on the destruction of human civilization, human systems and structures. We can feel them coming apart. We can feel them not working anymore. And even if they're still working for you, you think of the hundreds of millions of human beings around the planet where it's not working for them right now. You start thinking about the billions it won't be working for in the near future. Instead of us focusing on that, it's time for us to start thinking about the baby. We're in labor. Labor isn't easy. Anybody who tells you it is has either never had a baby or never seen one born. It's not easy. It's not pain-free. It's not at your control. Most folks who are going through labor wish they could make it stop. You make it stop by having the baby. Once, though, we have this baby, all the pain stops and you don't think about it. You don't dwell on it. What you dwell on is the baby. And the destruction that is imparted by having this baby. The afterbirth, the water that breaks, all the gunky stuff recedes in your memory. The thing that you focus on is the baby. Our baby is a new civilization. We're the ones bringing this forward. It's time we bring it together in the kind of thinking and the kind of being that we can. Now, you'll notice something in the past 15 minutes of doing this video. I haven't told you what the 5 latent powers are. If we're going to do this, it's time for us to stop being spoon-fed. It's time for us to start acting like adults and saying, Okay, roll your sleeves up. It's time for us to birth a whole new civilization. I can spend 90 minutes looking at this webinar, and we can go in depth into these 5 latent powers. If you don't believe that it's worth 90 minutes of your time, okay, don't do it. Don't do it, and something else will happen, and someone else will be the leaders, some other beings, some other people, maybe. Human beings might still be around, but this consciousness is going to go forward regardless of whether human beings are there or not. Our challenge is that if we're going to create a mature, I would say humane, but that leaves out way too many beings that are part of this consciousness. A civilized, global, living consciousness on this planet. If we're going to do that, it's time for you to become mature. It's time for you to become civilized. It's time for you to dedicate a specific amount of time every single day that you are going to awaken in yourself and awaken in others these abilities that are going to move us forward. I've been doing it. A handful of people have been doing this with me. We're expanding the handful now, and hope that you can join us. Hope that you can join us on the 27th of February, where we start this process of expanding this holonic consciousness, and let's see where it takes us. We know where we have come from. We know the problems we have come from. Now it's time for us to turn around and see which way we're going. We're in for the ride of our lives. We're in the ride right now. It's time for us to get it together, and time for us to move forward in a way that is going to be expansive for all of us. I'm looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to you being with me, with us, with all of the beings on the planet as we move forward together into one consciousness and move together into one solution for our global issues. More later. I will talk to you then. Thank you and good night.